Hey YouTube. Alright, so it's Saturday. It's like 12:30 in the afternoon. Alright, so I'm letting the 06 cool off. I'm pulling everything out of the storage. I've got to bolt the passenger front wheel back on the red Grand Prix and get it off jack stands because I need the jack stands for the 06. So I got to wheel this engine and transmission out of the way, get the cherry picker out of the way, jack this thing up, bolt that wheel on, get it off the jack stands, and then jack this thing up and start going to town on this. So I'll keep you guys updated. Just gonna get this stuff out of the way. Alright YouTube, so I've got the wheel bolted back on. The tire was actually flat, so I had to air it up. I got the wheel bolted back on, got it off the jack stands. So I've got the 3 here and I've got 1 sitting there. So I've got all 4 jack stands available. So yeah, we already started disconnecting everything on the 06. Got the air intake out. Started undoing some stuff on the harness. Got the plug on the fuse box out. It's already folded over. So now I'm just waiting for the coolant to cool off a little bit more so I can disconnect some radiator hoses and start getting everything else disconnected. I need to jack it up and get the wheels off, so that way I can get the brake calipers off and zip tie those up. And I gotta disconnect the struts from the knuckle so I can pop those clamps on the CV axles, because I want to leave these pieces here in the transmission that's in there. So I'll keep you guys updated. Stay tuned.
It's pulling from the overflow now.
Almost full. That's full. Alright you guys. Alright, so we've got the heater hoses disconnected, radiator hose are disconnected, exhaust is disconnected. I mean, it's pretty much about ready to come out. I've got the shifter cable off. I still got to disconnect the AC lines. Pretty much all the harness is thrown over the engine. I do have to pull the external transmission cooler and pull those cooler lines off the trans. But other than that, pretty much everything's ready to drop out. Oh, I still got to disconnect the steering shaft from the steering rack. But other than that, pretty much everything's ready to come out. So making a lot of progress. I do still have to take the calipers off and zip tie them up, so because the calipers are going to stay in here, so I don't have to disconnect the brake lines. But everything else is pretty much ready to come out. So I'll keep you guys updated as we go. We're making a lot of progress. Stay tuned. Alright you guys, so I've got brake calipers are both off. I got the strut to knuckle bolts out, so that relieves pressure off that CV. But that's all getting dropped one piece. I'm leaving the struts in. I got the AC lines draining out their shit so I can get this dropped out. I still got to pull the tranny cooler lines, and probably just going to pull that whole transmission cooler off. Just pull it out of there so I can use those factory lines. But I've got both sides are zip tied up over here and it's ready to be dropped. Exhaust is off and disconnected, so the only thing that's holding me up is these transmission cooler lines and those AC lines. And then I just gotta hook the cherry picker up to the chain to support it so I can undo the 4 subframe bolts. Oh, and I gotta do that steering rack bolt. So not very much left to do, and this thing's getting dropped out of here, and it'll be ready for this one once we power wash it. So y'all stay tuned and I'll keep you guys updated. Alright YouTube, so I got all the bolts out. We've started lowering it down. I got the whole cooler out. Everything's nice and free. AC lines are disconnected. Like everything's hanging, we're lowering it down. So we're just trying to watch, make sure we're not hitting anything, make sure nothing gets fucked up while we're dropping this out. So we're gonna push that side way back, or else it's gonna rip all these fucking fan wires out. Alright, I'll keep you guys updated. I can't hold this and do this at the same time. Alright, you guys, we got it dropped. The subframe is sitting on the cherry picker legs right now, so I've got to get the jack and the other jack stands and try to set a couple jack stands under this side and get the jack under the other side so I can pull the cherry picker out. And I got to hook the cherry picker to right here on the radiator support, and then that way it'll lift the car up enough to be able to wheel the subframe out with the jack. And I have this little cart here. I'm going to try to set it on that and roll it out. So I will keep you guys updated and let you know how it goes. Alright, YouTube, so subframe is dropped. We dropped it onto the little cart. It bent that wheel. It bent that wheel. And it bent the one on the other side. So 3 of the 4 wheels collapsed. But it still kind of half-ass rolls, so it might work. So next step is I got to hook this cherry picker up right here on the radiator support, lift the body of the car up a little higher, raise the jack stands, and then once I get the jack stands raised up enough, then I can set the car back down and it'll hold it up higher, and then I can concentrate on getting all this pulled out the front. So we're getting there, so stay tuned, we'll keep you updated. Alright, you guys, well, it's coming right out the side. So it's been a pain in the ass. Had to get a jack on the subframe on this side and using pry bars to lift up. And then I'm on this side with the jack handle prying, pushing it that way, pushing out that side. I did have to take the strut out from that side because it was hanging down in the way. But other than that, that's really the only biggest pain in the ass so far. So too bad the wheels on the cart crushed, or else it would have worked perfect, but it just crushed that whole thing. So it's all good, no worries, not tripping on it. It still has one good wheel. Maybe I can put it on my creeper over here and replace one of those wheels. So, but we're gonna finish getting this thing out of here, and I'll keep you guys updated as soon as we get it out of here, so stay tuned. Alright, you guys, fucking engine, trans, subframe, everything is out. So it was a pain in the ass, and
pushed right back in.
It probably isn't tight enough. That's probably the problem. But man, making a lot of progress. So now I gotta get a chain back on this, lift it up, get the engine and transmission mounts undone, the engine mounts underneath. So that's gonna be fun. So I gotta lift it up to get that off. This one I can undo from right here, but made a lot of progress. So we're gonna keep at this, and I'll keep you guys updated. Alright, y'all, so I've got engine and transmissions hanging, got the subframe over here, I've got the rack and pinion and the pump and the cooler line sitting over there. I'm going to move those over here so I can spray the lines. But I've got here some Purple Power degreaser concentrate mixed up. I'm just spraying down everything, trying to get all this gunk and shit off here. And I'm going to spray down the power steering lines and stuff too. I'm using a different rack and pinion, so I don't need to spray down this rack and pinion. But I definitely want to spray down everything on here. horrible. Look at all that gunk. Ugh. Ooh, shit
Show
smells
YouTube my
good.
modification.
Oh, nice.
So it's a grape tomato container because the float, the pickup
nice.
does not stay in there.
Awesome.
But
so
now
that
it's got a
keeps
little
it at
weighted
the bottom.
basket.
Awesome. Nice big jug of water. Alright, I'm going to bring over the rack. Alright guys, I'll keep you updated. Alright you guys, got the rack sprayed down, or the line and the pump sprayed down. So, might have to get closer than that. Some of it's coming up. Ew, look at all that brown. There you can see it flowing. Alright, so we're going to keep spraying this down and I'll show you what it looks like whenever we get done. Alright you guys, so we sprayed it down and we had to scrub it to get the big majority of it off. And now it's working pretty well. So it's like its third coat of degreaser, super concentrated purple power. So it's getting there. Look how good it is. And then yeah, I was scrubbing over here with the wire brush and found a nice sticker underneath all the grease. So it's getting there. Looks so much better than what it did. But I'll keep you guys updated when it's completely done being washed. Alright you guys, so it's looking way better than it was. Looks 100 times better. It's actually silver. So looking really good. We did find a crack right here. Looks like someone re-welded this and didn't weld that up. But overall that came out looking really nice. We got the other engine and trans sitting over there. So about to lift this thing up, get the chain on it, lift it up in the air, and then after we lift it in the air, we're gonna grab the subframe, set it back on the legs of the cherry picker, and then lower it down and get it set in place. And then reverse how we got it out of here. So y'all stay tuned. I'll keep you guys updated as best I can. So alright you guys, so we've got the engine up in the air. We've already swapped all the exhaust manifolds. So now on the rear, both of them have threads. Made sure everything's nice and tight. We've got the starter in with the dust shield. Got all the battery cables and everything on, got the AC line on, so we're pretty much ready to go. Now we're gonna grab the subframe. I've got to throw this other rack and pinion on there, get it bolted in place. We're gonna probably set it on back on the cherry picker, lower this back down, get it bolted into place, and then bring it back over here to the side and try to slide it back under there. So I'll keep you guys updated as we go, as we make more progress. But it got dark on us, so it's like like 8:30, 9 o'clock. So got a few more hours left until I got to be out of here. So I'll keep you guys updated. Stay tuned. Hey YouTube. Alright, so we've got the engine and trans set back down in place. We got the nuts on for the trans mount. I've got both the axles Was able to reuse the factory clamp on this side, and had this worm drive clamp, but I couldn't get it to, wasn't long enough to go around. This side I did have one, so I was able to just put that on there. So no worries. I do have to swap this outer tie rod because when I took it off, I hit that and it fucked it up, so I have to swap it. See, look, these inners are,
They're both that way.
yeah, I think this rack needs inner tie rods. Yeah, so I went to swap the rack and pinion, and where the lines go in right here on the other rack, they went in like up here instead of direct from the side. So I wasn't able to swap the rack and pinion. You can see where it's been leaking. So I need to take this metal bar out of here. Yeah, you can see how these go in straight from the side, and let's put that around. Yeah. So wasn't gonna work. Didn't have the right lines for it. So I just had to put this rack back on here, but man, everything is so much cleaner now. It looks 1,000 times better than it did previously. So, and I did swap the bolts around, so if I ever need to swap this, I can get them out without having to drop the subframe. So, all good. I just got to swap this outer tie rod, and that side I've got the nut and the washer right there. So I got to get that side back on and get a cotter pin through it. And I got to take the other good outer off of that other rack and swap it onto here because I fucked this one up when I took it apart. Other than that, engine and trans is bolted on the subframe, and we got both of the belts on. I got the power steering pump bolted on. Got all the lines, the cooler lines hooked back up where they're supposed to go, clipped in place. This is for the battery cable right there. But I mean, overall, it's ready to slide back under there. So we're trying to hurry and get this shit done. We're already out of daylight, like I said earlier, but we're going on, what time is it? Like 9:30?
Yeah, they have about 9:30.
So yeah, we're trying to get this done, so I'll keep you guys updated. Alright, you guys, so everything's pretty much ready to go. Since I had this engine and transmission sitting on my creeper for the longest time, we decided to use the creeper as our rolly cart, since I kind of smashed the other one and bent all the wheels. So it's looking like we're going to clear. Probably have to pull the transmission dipstick out of there, and I just got to kind of lift up the rotors. So I'm probably going to grab a couple of these 2x4s and stick under here so it's dragging the 2x4 and not the rotors. I got to stick one on each side. And after that, we're going to start scooting this thing back under here and try to get it jacked up so we can get it stuck back on the cherry picker legs once it's under there. And it's going to be kind of a pain in the ass, but with the help of David, it's turned this from a 2-day job by myself into not even a full 1-day job between the two of us. So it's almost done. And really, earlier when I said it was 9:30, it was only 9:06. So we was actually above schedule a little bit there, but
Did a little time traveling.
yeah. So right now it's about 9:35-ish, somewhere right in there. So it's not too bad a time. Hopefully we'll have this stuck back in here, bolted back in place, and just go a little bit at a time. And I'm not trying to rush it. I don't want to fuck nothing up or forget to do anything. So I'm taking my time with it, and we're going to get this thing stuck back in here. So y'all stay tuned. I'll keep you updated. Hey, you guys. Yeah, using the creeper was a great idea. That took us like, what, 5 minutes? Maybe 10 at the most. So, engine's under there. The whole subframe and everything is under there. And it's pretty damn lined up. It's pretty close. It ain't perfect, but it's pretty damn close. So we're getting there. So next step, we gotta wheel this back up here I gotta jack it up and get the front of this subframe sitting back up on top of this, and then kind of edge it in there some, and then jack up the back side and get the whole thing sitting up on that and sit it into place, so that way we can lift it up to the car. I'm also gonna have to let the the car itself down a little bit before we lift it up, but it's all good. We're getting there, making a shit ton of progress, so stay tuned. I'll keep you updated. Alright, you guys, so we've got the engine and trans and everything set under. We've got the car is back on jack stands, just a lot lower. So the car is supported. The cherry picker is not on the car anymore. So now I've got to scoot the subframe all the way up onto, so I'm probably going to have to put the jack in the front and jack the front up to scoot this in more. But I've got to get stands on the rear, so that way it's got jack stands holding it up higher, so I can scoot this all the way up under it. And then once I get that all the way under it where I need, that'll put the hook up here. I can hook the chain and pull it back up into place where it needs to go. So it's worked out pretty good so far. I'm really excited to get this thing all the way done and completed. Get this thing running and driving again. Doing that steering rack is going to be the hardest part of this as we lift it up into place. But everything's going pretty good, so I'll keep you guys updated. Just want to give you a little update. And it's like 10:05, 10:10 right now, so not making too bad a time. Say, considering we got over here at like what, 1:30?
Yeah.
So, but it's cool. We've got the whole subframe has all been cleaned and degreased and scrubbed and power washed. Engine and trans is bolted in. Got all the belts on. Like, I was gonna swap the rack. I had it swapped and everything, and then after I swapped it, I realized that the lines wouldn't work, so I had to swap it back. And I hadn't even swapped the pulley or the boot yet. This has some really nice stiff inner tie rods versus the one on this one. There's just oh, that one's got the nut on it. Oh, that one's got a nut on it too. But man, dude, these ones on this rack are just super loose, so I'm pretty sure those inners are shot. So I'm gonna have to end up swapping those sometime. But I couldn't wait. I had to do it, and I didn't really feel like pulling it all apart, taking up more time trying to get this stuff back together and still not rush it. So, but everything's going good so far. I gotta put this strut back in here and get it bolted back up in there, so once I get this lifted up, I can connect the knuckle and that'll hold it, and then I can get these 4 bolts started. Got one there, the other one's up here. Damn, where'd it go? Got me lying. Great, now it's lost. Alright, well, we'll find them. We'll get them all in. But it's not very far away now, so I'll keep you guys updated. Alright, you guys, so it is officially in the car. So I got all 4, we got all 4 of the subframe bolts up in place. I got the steering rack connected underneath the boot. I still gotta put the bolt in. It was a fucking pain in the ass, but I got it after fighting it. I still have to pull the tranny cooler lines off of the red Grand Prix so I can clip them on and clip them in place on this. But that's really the only thing that I have to do that's not already on the car. So next it's just hooking everything back up and getting everything set back into place and bolted in. So I'm excited. Hell, David's excited. It's not even his car.
I'm excited. It's gonna be boosted again.
Hell yeah. So, but it's getting there. it's come a long way today. We've made a lot of progress. Pull this chain off. Let's pull that shirt off out of the way. See that? Ah, there it is. There it is. Love it. So, yeah, now it's literally just hooking everything up and just plugging everything back in. So, shouldn't be too long. Get it all full of fluids and hear that first start. So, y'all stay tuned. I'll keep you updated. Alright, you guys. So, everything's going really well. We got the dog bones in. We got the fuel line hooked up. We've almost got the exhaust hooked up. I've got the intake in. We've got the radiator hoses on. Is that one tight? The radiator
No, not yet.
No? Okay. I've got the AC lines connected, but they're not tight yet. We've got the computer screwed down into place where it needs to go. So everything's going very well. Very well. Got the purge valve on, or purge solenoid, whichever. I still got to plug in the rear O2. Looks like he got the heater hoses connected. I do still have to get the transmission cooler lines off the red Prix, so I'll get to that after we get everything else connected. I still got to hook up this strut to the knuckle and get both the brake calipers back on and bolt it back down. But man, it's super fucking close, so I'm super happy with it. So I will keep you guys updated, but we're getting super close, so y'all stay tuned. Alright, you guys, exhaust is hooked up. It's nice and tight. Ain't going nowhere. So got the O2 plugged in. Let me get back out. So, on this side, say we got the strut. I still need to tighten these two nuts, but we got the speed sensor wire ran all the way over here and got all these clips put in place to hold it. We finally got the hose clamp tightened down. We ended up having to swap to a different clamp because the other clamp just broke while we were trying to tighten it down. So yeah, I've got the clips in here, so now I just gotta, whenever I pull those lines out of that car, out of the S7, they can just clip right into here, top and bottom. And I gotta put the clips in the transmission so they can clip right in on the transmission, and then that's that. So it's just about done. Once I get the cooler lines in, then I can start adding transmission fluid. So I don't want to start adding fluid until the lines are in, because I don't want it dripping on my new fluid all over the ground. So it is coming together. It's just about done though. Pretty much almost everything's hooked up. Just got to get the battery back in, and I still got to put the bolt back in the steering shaft and a couple other small things. We got these back here on. Yeah, clamps are on. So it's coming together. It's getting really close. I'm super excited, so I'll keep you guys updated. Stay tuned. Alright, you guys, so we've got the battery hooked up. Everything's hooked up. Brakes are on, struts on, axles are in. The only thing I haven't done yet is the cooler lines. I still got to pull them off the 07. But everything else is on. We lost one nut right here. But everything else is on and connected. So I'm going to give this to you. Fingers. So we're going to attempt this first start.
Yeah.
Alright, so it does run. Doesn't sound super great, but I guess we'll see how it goes. I'm going to keep working on this thing, get these cooler lines in, and get fluid in it, and we'll go from there. Alright, you guys, it's on the ground. I do still need to adjust this tie rod a little bit, but it's on the ground. I'm filling up with transmission fluid. Cooler lines are in. It's full of oil. It's pretty much full of antifreeze. I filled it up and had the bleeder completely out, and wasn't anything coming out of it. Radiator's pretty full though, so I'm still gonna have to add more to that, I'm sure, but it's pretty much there. So I'm gonna keep adding some more fluid and get it topped off while it's off, and then I'll get this thing running again and get the heater on, and we'll see how she does. So I'll keep you guys updated. Alright, you guys, so it's running. It's definitely got a misfire. It's shaking a little bit, but I'm trying to let it bleed off. I got no check engine lights or anything yet. Trans 10 to 86. So it's starting to warm up some. So just trying to let this coolant circulate. I got the bleeder valve cracked open, and I'm slowly adding as it goes down. So I just gotta let it warm up and get up to temp, and let that thermostat open up. And once that thermostat opens up, then we will start. This hose is still cold, so we'll see though. We'll see. I'll keep you guys updated. Just want to give you an update. It's running. Doing alright, so stay tuned. Alright, you guys, well, I drove her home. See, there's the truck, there's the parts branding. See, there's my manual. So she's home, it's still running. It was misfiring the whole way, but it drove home. So I've got to figure out what's going on with the misfire. It is leaking a little coolant from the lower intake manifold bolt right there, and the back one right back there. And it's dripping some coolant down. So pull the supercharger back off and probably just RTV for every one of those bolts. I guess I missed a couple, but I just redo them all. Any other that looks like they're leaking. And get everything tied down, and hopefully the random misfire is just vacuum leak. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe I need a new supercharger gasket. I don't know. But probably going to be it for tonight. I just want to give you guys last update. I drove her home, still sitting here idling, and it's crazy, like once it's sitting here idling, the check engine light goes off. Now it's not. It's trans temps 152, still blowing nice heat. Seems to be running a lot better now. Okay, the only downside to this setup is my fuel gauge reads backwards, so I'm gonna have to flip-flop a couple wires for the fuel gauge to make it, because earlier I had over half tank and it was showing under, and now that I've drove home it's went above. I remember that from last time I was running this computer and this harness, it reads backwards. So I'll have to get that fixed, but the coolant temp sensor is reading correct. It's got a 180 thermostat in it, and I mean it's reading below the halfway mark, which is normal. So That's about where the red 07 car sits with the 180 thermostat. Shit, it's sitting here idling good now. Makes me happy. So, but that's going to be it for tonight, you guys. So, like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for more content. Like I said, I am going to have to do some more work on this to make it 100%. It's running so much better now. So, I'll keep you guys updated. Y'all have a good night. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Alright, you guys. It's Sunday. Car's been sitting all night. So, it's a cold start. Alright, y'all, so I've got superchargers off, fuel rails off, it's over there. So all the water pump bolts were just finger tight, so I got all those tightened down. I mean, on these two little O-rings here on the metal gasket I had on here weren't looking the best, so that could have been where that coolant leak over here was coming from. Also, I'm just going to double check the torque on all these. I've got the torque sequence and torque specs pulled up on my phone. I'm also replacing this little T fitting here that goes there. So that way I can just be sure everything's good. And yeah, so I'm going to keep working on this thing and see if I can't get this thing fixed up and running a little bit better. So I'll keep you guys updated. Stay tuned. Alright, you guys, so I'm pulling out the lower intake manifold bolts just a couple at a time. I did these two first, and then these two here. I'm putting RTV gasket maker red on all of them, so I'm just going down the line. And then once I get them all RTV'd and retorqued down, then I'll go ahead and throw this other paper style gasket on, the Garlock gasket, and get the supercharger back on and get it tightened back down. Get the fuel rail back on, which also, this fuel rail, it looked like it was kind of bent. So this is one of the other ones I had. But if you look at how that one sticks, and it looks kinked right there, and this one just doesn't look as kinked. So I think I might use this fuel rail and take all the injectors off and put them on this one. And then I might end up taking all those spark plugs and putting them on this engine, just because I don't know how good these are. These are some brand new eBay spark plugs, and I'm not really sure how good they are. So I got a set of them for the truck, and one of them broke in half as I was putting it in and tightening it down. So yeah, these might just be shitty spark plugs. So that also could be what's making the multiple random misfires. So, but I'm pretty sure there's no other vacuum leaks. I got the water pump tightened down. I'm getting all these lower intake manifold bolts RTV'd and retorqued down. I'm probably going to put some RTV around the thermostat housing on the bottom side, just to make sure I don't have any leaks there. And I might put a new gasket on that, just because I've had issues with that before. But other than that, everything seems really good. So I'm gonna keep RTVing these bolts, get everything tightened down, and I'll keep you updated as soon as I get all this lower intake manifold done. Alright y'all, so I've got all the bolts on the lower intake manifold are now RTV'd and torqued down to 20 foot-pounds. So now I'm putting the gasket back on, which is a different gasket than before. I had a metal gasket on here like this one. So hopefully this time I don't have any issues. Hopefully this will seal it a little bit better. I won't have any vacuum leaks. I did shorten this hose here so it wasn't so long. And I mean, it doesn't seem like this is leaking anywhere. The lines are tight going into these tubes, so these hoses. Everything else is tight. Yeah, all of these bolts were loose on the water pump, so all of those are tight now. You can see the little pool right there where it was leaking. So that's tight. Now I just got to get the supercharger set back on here and get it tightened down and torqued down. And then I'm going to be swapping these injectors onto that rail and put that rail on. And I don't know, I might even take the plug wires, either that I had for the red Prix or the ones on the Grand Am engine, one of the two, because they're both brand new sets of AC Delco wires. So probably going to take a brand new set of wires just so I know the wires are good, because I'm not really sure how great these wires are. But I mean, they look a lot nicer than the ones on the NA engine, but the NA engine ran perfect, and this one should, because it ran perfect in the red Prix. All the same stuff, just different to the engine, but the same thing. So but I don't know, I guess we'll just see how it goes. So you guys stay tuned and I'll keep you updated. Alright you guys, so I've got the fuel rail swapped around, so now this isn't bent at such a bad angle right there. So I've just got it set on here right now. I swapped all the injectors around, got all the clips on, all the O-rings still look new, so I just went ahead and reused them. I mean, they ain't been on here very long, so it's definitely getting there. I'm super excited. I'm really ready to hear this thing. So now I just gotta throw these 4 nuts on the fuel rail, and then get those tightened down, and throw my plug wires back on, get the map sensor bolted back up to the supercharger, and get all these injectors plugged back in. Got to get the water pump pulley back on and tightened down. We've got to get the alternator back on, get the belts on. Got to get that supercharger idler pulley back on. It's right there. So I still got quite a bit of stuff I got to get done, but it's definitely getting there. It's coming together. So I'm going to keep working at this and get this stuff together, and I'll keep you guys updated whenever it's time to start it up and see how she runs. So stay tuned. Alright you guys, so I've got most of the top end together. I still got to put on the alternator, still got to put on the water pump pulley and the belts, but other than, and I still got to put on the air intake. But I mean, other than that, everything is connected. I RTV'd all around the thermostat, and then I also RTV'd all around the housing, the thermostat housing for it, and then torqued it down to 15 foot-pounds. I got the fuel rail tightened down, all the injectors are on. The clip inside of my fuel line was messed up, so I had to pull it out and bend the tabs back out, stick it back in there so it would clip onto the rail. So I got that fixed. I got my map sensor bracket back there tightened down, got the heat shield for the EGR back on. I got the purge solenoid plugged in and got the line on it. So pretty much everything on here is back together except for the water pump and the belts and the alternator and my idler pulley. So I'm gonna keep working on this and finish getting this thing back together. and then I'll give you guys an update once it's together. Alright y'all, so I've got both the belts back on, everything's back together. I got the air intake in, everything's hooked back up, so I'm going to try to start it. See if she runs any better. I'm going to turn the heater on and fill this up and let her idle. And I'll keep you guys updated and let you know how it goes. Hey guys, okay, so I had everything back together. It was still kind of misfiring a little bit. So I decided to change out the spark plugs and wires. So I took all the spark plugs out of the engine I pulled out yesterday because that engine was running perfect with no misfires or nothing. And these are the spark plug wires that was on the 07. And I got some brand new heat shields for them. So I do them on here. And I got all 3 of the front ones done. And these 2 cylinders 2 and 4 done. And I took the plug out of cylinder 6. And then I went to put the one from the old engine in, and I guess it went in a little bit at an angle because it like cross-threaded and fucked up the plug. So I had to get another Autolite plug, which was just one I had laying over here. And this is a Autolite 104, and those are like Autolite 606. But I got one of those finally to thread in after fighting it for like 10 minutes, and I had to use my mirror and put it down here and try to see the hole. Finally I got it in, so now I got to hook up the 3 rear plug wires, and I'm going to try starting this thing again and see if it runs any better with different plugs and wires. And if it don't help with that, then I'm really not for sure. I'm just going to try to drive it, so I'll keep you guys updated and let you know how it goes. Alright you guys, so I've got all the plug wires in. Everything's in, plugged in. They're all down on the coils. Everything should be tight. So I'm gonna try to start this thing. And we'll see how she runs. A lot better. Still sounds like it has a misfire though. Hard to tell, but the whole hood's shaking. Yeah, you can still hear it. just gonna drive it and see how it does. I'm gonna pick all my tools up and get everything picked up. And I'll give you an update once I figure out how it goes. So y'all stay tuned.